This is Unit 7, Lesson E, Modeling with Systems of Equations. After this lesson, you will be able to write a system of linear equations to model a real-world situation. So every story problem, every real-world situation is going to be different. However, there's kind of a general process that you can follow in order to help you write a system of equations. The first part of that is pretty obvious. Read the problem. And then once you've read it one time, read it again. This time, make sure you underline the important information. When you underline the important information, it can make a giant chunk of text look a lot more understandable. After you've underlined the important information, for a system of equations, we need to identify the two total amounts. Those two total amounts are going to be on one side of the equal sign of both of my equations. Also, once you know those total amounts, you know the units. And that brings us to step 3. You are going to write the rest of the equations by matching the units to your total. So that's where units in a real-world problem come in handy because they help you guide the creation of your equations. So the very first thing we want to do is read through example 1. You are selling tickets for a musical at your local high school. Student tickets cost $5 and general admission tickets cost $8. You sold 500 tickets and collected $3,475. Write a system of equations that models the situation. Now we're going to read it through the second time, but we're going to underline important information. You are selling tickets for a musical at your local high school. Student tickets cost $5. Stop right there. First important information, student tickets cost $5. General admission tickets cost $8. That's also equally as important. So we have 2 pieces of information so far. You sold 500 tickets. Then we need to grab a different color here for a second. And collected $3,475. Write a system of equations that models the situation. Now that we've underlined the important information, my very first step to writing my equations is to identify the two total amounts. So I'm going to go back through and I'm going to look, what information did I circle could be considered a total? Well, student tickets costing $5 isn't really a total. Neither is general admission tickets costing $8. But selling 500 tickets is a total. I had to add up all of the tickets I sold to know that I sold 500 of them in total. So that's my very first total amount. Notice how I wrote the units. That'll help me build the rest of my equation. The next important information that I have that could be considered a total is that we collected $3,475. So again, that's $3,475. My units for that are the dollar sign since we're talking money. Now that I have my two total amounts, I want to write the rest of the equation by matching units. Well, my units on the very first one are tickets. So I'm going to be looking for the word ticket throughout the problem. Student tickets cost $5. General admission tickets cost $8. So I know it's got to do something to do with those student tickets and those general admission tickets. Well, there's 2 types that were sold. First were student tickets. I'm going to use S to represent student tickets. You could use any variable you like, such as X or Y. S, for me, represents student. The other type of ticket that was sold was a general admission ticket. I'm going to use the variable G to represent general. Again, you could use any variable you want, but G makes the most sense to me. Now, in order to add up all of my tickets, I need to add up the student tickets and the general admission tickets to equal 500 total tickets. So that is my very first equation. I'm going to do the same thing with matching units in order to write my second equation. My units in my second equation are dollar signs. So I'm going to be looking for dollar signs. I see one here when I have $5 for my student tickets. And I see one here when I have $8 for my general admission tickets. So I'm going to go ahead and use that information in my money total. Well, I already know S is my student tickets. In order to get my money in there, I know student tickets cost $5. So 5S represents $5 for every student ticket sold. I'm going to do the same thing for general admission. General admission is G, but I know it costs $8 for every general admission ticket I sell. In order to get my total amount of money, I need to add my student ticket $5 bills with my general admission $8 payments to get my total of $3,475. There you have it. This is the system of equations that models this situation. Now, in order to solve the last part, how many student tickets were sold, we need to use any of our three methods to solve this system of equations. We could do graphing, we could do substitution, and we could do linear combination. My personal preference is going to be linear combination. So I have S plus G equals 500. I don't care so much about the units when I'm solving it. Then I have 5S plus 8G equals 3,475. Now, I want to solve for student tickets. So that means I'm looking for what does S equal? Well, in linear combination, if I have a variable by itself, I can multiply the entire equation so that something will cancel or eliminate. So I want to solve for S, so I'm going to get G to cancel by multiplying everything by a -8. When I multiply that -8 out, I get -8S minus 8G equals -4,000. Now I can go ahead and combine both equations in order to see what I get. 5S minus 8S is -3S. My G's cancel equals, I have to combine 3,475 with -4,000 to get -525. My last step is to divide both sides by -3, and that's going to give me the value of S equals 175. To put that into explaining the answer, there were 175 student tickets sold. And there you have it. We wrote a system of equations to model the situation, and we used it to solve our value of how many student tickets were sold. Pause the video now as you read through example 2. Make sure you read through it a second time to underline important information. Press play to make sure you haven't missed any information. A group of friends are driving to a concert together. If the group takes one van and 2 cars, 20 friends can go. If the group takes 2 vans and 3 cars, 35 friends can go. Write a system of equations that models the situation. All right, so we read through it. We read through it a second time to get important information. Now we need to identify the 2 total amounts. Pause the video now as you identify the 2 total amounts. Press play to check your answer. So my total amounts here are going to be the fact that 20 friends can go in the first situation, and that 35 friends can go in the second situation. Again, that's the total amount of friends in each situation. So now we have to say what created those pieces. Well, I know that you should pause the video now as you try and set it up. Press play to go over your answer. one van and two cars, when they're added together, it's 20 friends. If I had two vans and I had three cars, adding those together, I can have 35 friends go. And there you have it, is our system of equations to model the situation of taking our friends to the concert in different types of vehicles. Now the question becomes, how many people can fit in one van? Pause the video now as you solve the system of equations. Press play to go over your answer. So I'm going to rewrite my system. 1b plus 2c equals 20. And then I have 2b plus 3c equals 35. Again, you don't really care about the units when you're solving. I like linear combination. So I'm going to go ahead and change both equations because I'm trying to solve for van. I want my c, my car, to cancel. So multiply this first one by a -3. And I'm going to multiply the second one by a +2. Let's see what we get. -3 times 1b is -3b. -3 times 2c is -6c. -3 times 20 equals -60. For my bottom one, 2 times 2b is 4b. 2 times 3c is +6c. And 2 times 35 is going to give us +70. Now I have two equations I can continue to solve by using linear combination. I combine the equations together. My c's cancel, which is what I wanted. -3b plus 4b is 1b equals -60 plus 70 is 10. I don't really have to do this next part, but I'll show you. Divide by 1. We know b equals 10. To write that as a final answer, 10 people can fit in one van. And there you have it, is our system of equations to model the situation and our answer when we solved. Pause the video now as you try example 3. Press play to go over your answer. Make sure you're trying your best. At this point, you should be more comfortable with writing a system. And there you have the important information we can pull from the problem. There you have our total amount we can pull from the problem. $78.50 was our total amount of money we made, and $87 was the total amount of hot dogs and sodas we sold. Our first equations is $1.50 per hot dog plus 50 cents per soda is what gave us our $78.50 total that we made. We have H plus S equals 87. And that's because we sold hot dogs and sodas to get a total of 87 hot dogs and sodas sold. There you have it, is our system of equations for modeling the situation. Now go ahead and pause the video as you solve for the answer of how many sodas were sold. Press play to go over your answer. So we rewrite the system, not caring about units. I'm going to use linear combination in order to eliminate. I want sodas, so I'm going to eliminate my H variable. I'm going to multiply this whole thing by -1.50. That's going to give me -1.5H minus, not an addition sign, minus 1.50 sodas equals, and then we have to go ahead and multiply 87 by 1.50, which gives me negative 130.5. Now, in order to keep this clean, I'm actually going to rewrite this top equation down below. And that's just because I like to see mine right next to each other. So I get 1.50H plus 0.50S equals, careful if your S's look like 5s like mine, equals 78.50. And then you go ahead and combine them all together. You can see we get $1 sodas equals 52. Oh, sorry about that. Actually, -52. Got my sign you divide both sides by negative 1.00, which you should see gives you S equals 52. And to write our final answer as a sentence, there were 52 sodas sold. And there you have it. We modeled the situation and we used it to solve. Pause the video now to try example 4. Try doing the entire thing before checking your answer. I believe in you. I know you can do this. If you need extra help, make sure you look back to example 2, which is pretty similar. Press play to go over your answer. There we have our important information circled. We're now going to use it to find the two totals. There we have our two totals of both bills, $11.25 for mine and $10 for my friend. Now we need to go ahead and match units in order to write our system of equations. My meal was made up of 3 soft tacos and 3 burritos. My friend's meal was made up of 4 soft tacos and 2 burritos. And there you have it, is our system of equations to model this situation. Now we're going to use it to solve. We rewrite the system without units. We then set it up to either do substitution, linear combination, or graphing. I chose linear combination, and I changed both equations so that way they would cancel out my S term. And there you can see B equals 2.5 when we solve. Keep in mind it is money, so that means I'm looking at $2.50. So burritos cost $2.50 is our final answer. And there we have it, is answer to example 4, and now I'm a little bit hungry. Go ahead on to example 5. Pause the video now as you find your entire answer. Press play to go over. There you have your system of equations. 2 goodie bags and 1 pumpkin bowl equals 26 pieces of candy. 3 goodie bags and 2 pumpkin bowls equals 45 pieces of candy. Now you're going to use it to solve. And there we can see our answer. We multiply the top equation so that our goodie bags will remain and our pumpkin bowls will cancel. That ends up giving us negative 1g equals negative 7. Divide and conquer, you know g equals 7, which means there are 7 pieces of candy in each goodie bag. Pause the video now as you try example 6. You should be able to work out the whole problem all the way to the end. I believe in you. Try your absolute best. Make sure you're pausing it. So what's a little bit tricky on here is once you identify your totals, you have to know that the total tickets were made up of general tickets that were sold as well as senior tickets that were sold. So we know how many types of tickets were sold, but where it gets a little complicated is how much they cost. Because the theater sells general tickets for $9, but then they sell senior tickets for a $3 discount. Discount means I got to take that original $9 and I've got to take away the $3 discount to find out senior tickets actually cost $6. And of course, that equals how much money we made, which is $4,974. Now we're going to use our system to solve. Once we set it up for linear combination, we know we're solving for S because we want to know senior tickets. So we cancel out the G. That ends up with, there were 250 senior tickets sold. This brings us to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you re-watch if you have any questions on it. And always, as always, try your best.